Hello, today we're going to continue practicing using a coordinate plane. In this example here, you will be given a coordinate plane just like this. Notice on this coordinate plane, there's lots of figures on it, such as hearts, circles, stars, and that represents my points plotted on this coordinate plane. What I love about this coordinate plane is that my x-axis here is labeled as an x, and my y-axis is labeled as y as well, just as a reminder for what my two axes are. Now notice where my x-axis and my y-axis meet, it's labeled as 0 because that is called my origin, which is known as 0, 0. We are also working in quadrant 1 today. Notice my x values are all positive as well as my y values here too. Your goal is to use the grid below to determine the coordinates where each figure is located. You are given a star, lightning, and circle, and you need to find out those coordinates known as an ordered pair. Now, my ordered pair is always my x value first, then my y value. Notice to separate my x and y value, we put a comma between those two values that are inside parentheses, and that represents my ordered pair. Now the first figure I have is a star. I'm going to find the star on this coordinate plane, and right here I notice is where it's located. I'm going to put a point right over this star to recognize that this is the point I need to figure out my ordered pair for. I'm always going to start at my origin here at 0. I always first find my x value or move to the right. So I'm moving to the right 1, 2 spaces here. So that's telling me that my first value here for my star is going to be 2 as my x value. Now I need to figure out my y value. But I notice my point lies along my x-axis. It's not going upstairs. It's not going up any units. Therefore, that means my y value is going to be 0 because it's not moving up anywhere. So now that's creating an ordered pair of 2, 0. So again, you always start at the origin. We move to the right along my x-axis and then determine how many units up it is going to determine that y value. However, for this problem, my y value remains 0. Now I'm going to take a look at lightning. So I'm going to find my lightning. And in fact, it's right here as well along my x-axis again. I put a nice point over the lightning, and now I need to identify the ordered pair. Just like the previous problem, I started at 0, and I'm moving to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my x value is 6. But my y value is also going to be 0 because I'm not going up any units. It's remaining along my x-axis, so there is no y value. So when that is the case, you use 0 to represent your y value in the ordered pair. Now my next point is going to be a circle. I'm going to identify where the circle is located with a point right here. Now again, I'm going to do the same thing like I did for the previous problems. I always start at my origin. I'm going to go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's giving me an x value of 9, and now I need to determine my y value. So let's see how many spaces I'm going up to determine my y value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means my y value is going to be 9, giving me an ordered pair of 9, 9. Now I can confirm that this is correct because if I find my point on that circle and I look down, I see that my x is 9, and I look to the left and I see that my y value is 9 as well, confirming that the ordered pair 9, 9 can be used to describe the location of the circle on this coordinate plane. Now for this next set of problems here, determine which letter is at each coordinate using the grid below. So they gave us an ordered pair. 3, 8. We need to determine which letter represents this coordinate. Now, I always like writing x, y on the side of my paper just to remind me what the ordered pair is, and just to remind me that the first value I see is my x value and the second value I see is my y value. So now I'm always going to start at my origin. The first number I see is a 3. That means my x value is 3. So I need to find 3 along the x-axis, and then it's telling me 8 as my y value, which means I'm going up 8 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the letter I see here happens to be G, so I'm going to represent G right here as my answer on the line. Notice again I'm representing this with a capital letter because we represent points with capital letters on our coordinate plane. I can confirm this is correct because if I look down I see that it hits 3 along my x-axis, and if I look to the left I see that it hits 8 along my y-axis. My next coordinate I have is 7, 0. Just like we did before, I always start at my origin. I'm going to move to the right 7 spaces, and I can also find 7 along my x-axis, which is right here. And I notice my y value is 0 again. When your y value is 0, that means that point is remaining along the x-axis. It is not going up any units because there is no y value. That y value is represented with the number 0. Therefore, the point here to represent 7, 0 would be letter C. My next point I have, or coordinate, is 4, 3. Again, notice that x and y value is separated with a comma inside parentheses. That's how you represent your ordered pair. Now, 4, 3. Start at my origin. I'm going to move to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces to the right. Now, my y value is 3. That's telling me I need to go up 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3, and I hit the letter J, representing that this point 4, 3 can be represented with the letter J. I can confirm that is correct because if I look down at my x-axis, I see the number 4, and if I look to the left at my y-axis, I see the number 3. This is giving me the correct coordinate of 4, 3 to represent point J. As always, when you are using a coordinate plane in quadrant 1, you always start at the origin at 0. Then you are moving along your x-axis to the right, and then you go up however many spaces that y value is. Use that to help you, and as always, you can feel free to write down the ordered pair on the side to remind you that an ordered pair is x, y. You need both values to represent that coordinate or point on a coordinate plane. As always, feel free to refer back to this video to help you with today's activities.